but now I filled my less busy with just playing games. Uh,
Oh no.
I know.
Do you have something to talk about now?
I have so much to talk about.
I mean, I just
And
finished
his
the game like
name,
20 minutes ago, so.
and his name is Balin. Okay.
I love Balin.
I I do too. I do too.
I am less impressed.
That's called skill issue, but we're not there yet.
He's not playing enough.
Yeah, no, you're just. Oh, what's up, Qui-Gon? God, I haven't had one of these in years now. That's so good. I love it when I get these things.
I decide if I want to get a beer. I have nothing. I was gonna get Sprite Zero.
That's fair. I mean, I didn't have the beer last time. It's your turn not to have a beer. We're over here playing games like crazy. Phil and Matt's just work. Has it calmed down at all for you at all? I feel so bad.
It should by certainly by the end of the summer. I survived the end of the summer.
That's so long still.
I know Nova's going to be a nice little reprieve mentally, but
Oh, I
yeah,
bet. I
it's
bet.
a lot.
Bunch of glorious nerds. What's up?
Where are
man?
they, behind
What's
me?
up? No, you're the glorious nerd. So much sexy on one Twitch channel. Hey, Todd.
Cheers to you, Todd.
How's it going? I don't know. Like, I was driving home and I was like, I really want Alaskan Amber because I haven't had it in so long. It tastes so good.
Alaskan Amber. Like I've
I
just
love
never.
I
Alaskan
mean, it
Amber.
sounds great to me.
I don't know if I've ever
I-
specifically heard of an Alaskan Amber.
Yeah. Honestly, like
We're
this
not
might be
living
one
in
of
the
my.
West,
That's why.
I
You can't
believe
get it anywhere
you.
but here, from as far as I know. But this might be one of my favorite ambers.
I'm sure you can get it in Alaska.
You know,
That's true. That's
you
true.
might be onto something.
But I've never seen it somewhere else besides like up here in Oregon. But like whenever I would like come back here, I had to get one. Like there's just something about it, especially in the summertime. It hits the nostalgia for me.
I'm drinking a porter in like 80-degree weather like a lunatic.
That's true. You are a lunatic.
I love a
Just-
nice heavy beer.
I can't stand it that dark. Evergreen open to be stacked event. That's true. That's true. We'll probably do a draft for Evergreen. I imagine.
When is that?
I get out. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month from now. End of August, right before Nova.
We'll see where I'm at with life.
That's true. That's true. You got big developments happening.
They're
But
actually
we haven't-
little, technically. Babies are not large.
It's just we haven't done a draft in a while, so it'd be fun.
I'm allowed to do dad jokes, right?
No.
That's what we're here
Crashing by,
for.
say hi from Alaska. Have a good pod. Hi, Lord Conk. Lord Conk. Do they have Alaskan Amber in Alaska? It'd be funny if they didn't. It'd be hilarious if they could
question
not get.
The
Like,
people need to know.
it's a question that I need to know. Yeah, it's brewed in Juneau.
Did you know that?
I just did by reading the bottle.
I got
Alaska
you.
question. Did you know that?
Oh, I see. You are reeling in the dad jokes today. All right.
I've been playing
well,
dad real hard all weekend, so I cannot turn it
That's-
off.
that's completely fair.
Ash
All
is
right.
exhausted and like just ready to be done, and does like can't keep up with Theo. So I'm on.
Is she exhausted with the dad jokes?
Usually,
That's fair. That's fair. Alrighty, are you guys ready?
Or something.
That's true. That's true. Let's.
are
go
you?
ahead.
You're last one here.
You're right. You're right. 0. We'll start at 5. So about 20 seconds. Oh, Matt, you got to hit the media stuff.
Oh no, I had the media stuff. The hell put me in charge of this shit?
Wow, pew pew
Yeah.
pew. Welcome, my apprentice. Okay, intro's done.
Oh shit, that's not how that works.
When am I hitting this?
Now. No. Oh, you did it too!
Powered by Rivers.
That thing slaps, man. That thing, that's some grooves.
Welcome, my young apprentice.
Stretch out with your feelings. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Welcome back to another episode of Rogue Support, where we are jamming out with the smoothest of jams. That's two episodes in a row, I think, right?
2 episodes in a row where we hit the
that's
wrong button
sweet.
and you get the smooth jazz intro default.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
They're gonna be like, "There's no way those idiots figured or messed it up and did it again, huh?" Hey,
Maybe a little bit.
We're three
maybe
halves of a
little
whole idiot if you think about it.
sounds like math to me.
Sure. If you want to join the discussion, go ahead and click on the link in the description to join the Discord channel. Come join the description. Come join the description. If you would like to support the show, the Patreon link is there as well. And as always, go check out what is it, Tabletop something now.
Goonhammer?
I think
What?
it's not called Goonhammer anymore. They changed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
I think it has something to do with pop culture changing the definition of that word. But we'll leave it at that.
Oh, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's been Goonhammer. There's been Goonhammer for how long now?
Oh, I mean,
I'm gooning for more content. That's what the kids
Okay,
say. Right?
let's not do that.
Steve,
Oh,
whole
God.
different podcast, folks.
Check out our OnlyFans.
Anyways, with that, before we go too far down that rabbit hole, go check out. I think it's Tabletop Battles.
That's a
I think it's what
rabbit
it's
hole,
called.
not one of the other ones. Oh.
All right, you're done. You're cut off. Cut them off. Go check it out. This article is. Make sure you look up. I think it is Tabletop Battles. I'm drawing a blank on it right now.
For a second, I thought you were gonna tell me it was something to do with all like the 40K. I'm like, how did because 40K is suing everybody on the planet right now with 11th edition
True.
coming out,
True. No, 100%.
or at least I guess not suing, right? Cease and desist.
Yeah. Cease and
everything.
desist orders.
Yeah, they have
and all
not
that.
You get a
actually.
CD. You get a CD.
Yeah, it's
But-
just running around to anybody who thinks about putting something about 11th edition out anywhere without their permission.
Yeah, that's a thing. That is a thing. And we're gonna go ahead and jump to corners of the cantina, and let's start with Matt.
What have I been up to? Working a lot, as we were talking about earlier. I haven't gotten a game in since the last event. We do have an event coming up at our local store end of the month. I'm starting to figure out Nova terrain. I'm realizing I have a lot of terrain to work on for Nova. So, and this is mostly to get things to like my level of done that I want them at. So, I'm mostly self-imposed high expectations, but I got to figure out how to like sneak this in. It's going to be mixing in like evenings after the kids go to sleep. As I realize it's not the bad thing with my even just coming to this company in general is I'm back to having to be on camera all the time. So before where I had useless meetings where I'm like, all right, great, I can sit here on the side and dry brush terrain because I don't have to be on camera, and I'm sitting in this meeting where I have to kind of half pay attention. No, now I have to pay attention. And we like people
Oh
on my team like
no, I
being
got
on
a
camera.
promotion and a raise.
Well, they like being on camera. No, like since I came back to back to my old company in January, and since then, like everybody in this group loves being on camera for things. So, I have a pile of like polo shirts in the corner because sometimes I'm not on camera, and then all of a sudden it's like, ah, crap. So like I don't mind wearing a t-shirt with some of my coworkers, and other times I'm like, no, this person like I should put on a polo if I have a meeting. So, womp. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in the topic tonight, though, because I have not been feeling good as I've been theory crafting, because I've been following along, watching a lot of stuff. I've been talking about Shatterpoint and thinking about Shatterpoint. I just am not, I need to get more reps in with Balin, because it's you guys keep telling me, I'm keep hearing. We'll talk more about it, but
No,
this
there's a
one-
reason. There's a reason why he's called Bay Lin.
Bailey. Okay, there you go.
Who's got the bad jokes now?
Oh, that was a good
Right,
one.
everyone.
That was a good one. What are you talking about?
Oh, I give it a solid 6 out of 10. That was good.
That was solid. It's in his name.
I gave you a solid 6 out of 10. That is above average.
I think it should be a 10 out of 10. That like the setup has been there and nobody's done it.
I was literally thinking about it earlier, but you did tell me to stop the jokes.
Fair. All right. Well, that sounds, Matt. I don't envy. I felt
going off.
I felt so bad the other day because I was like, God, I feel like I haven't talked to Matt in so long. I messaged him. I'm like, how's life?
Yeah,
Matt and I talk a ton normally, and it's been radio silent for a while.
it's been freaking brutal. Like I said, luckily it should be slowing down a little bit here. We have a batch of new people starting tomorrow, actually. The first wave of like our new hires, which is good because most of what I've been doing is building and working on some not most of, but one of the things I've been doing is working on like the training side of stuff. So I am not actually the one leading the training. I'm just writing all the training material. So I can now hand that off and somebody else can just take care of that. So I have to be around to answer questions at a high level and be involved in a lot of like the regular meeting, but I'm just mostly planning people's workloads right now. So at least it's a little bit easier starting tomorrow. So
Fair.
I get to pawn off busy work onto other people and focus on other things.
It's always good to pawn off the busy work.
Yeah.
That is the attitude that needs to be taken. Is you pawn off the busy work. Like that's like what happened at about 5:55 p.m. or 8:55 p.m. depending on where you are, when Accuser said, "Hey, somebody should probably get this going because we're running a little behind." I'm sorry. It's my fault. I gotta get used to I-5 traffic again. It could be a bitch. Like I-5 traffic is not fun, and I gotta get used to it again.
So I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. It's you could take the word for it. It's fine. It's fun.
I will.
With that, let's go ahead and jump over to Accuser with what you've been up to, because I don't know about you, but I've got a lot of shit I've been up to with all of the hobbying.
I've been up to a lot. Like, I mean, I am trying to, let's see, this week I got a game Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, tonight. So I got 5 games this week. And Ashley was like, you're not going to be like gaming this much when the new kid arrives, right? It's like, that's why I'm gaming as much as I am right now. Because that's why
we do this.
We are like back in college and doing like all the cramming I can before the finals. So we're just squeezing in what we can here. So this week, Monday, Diz and I played a game that is recorded online. It is on YouTube. I got a notification because I'm still subscribed to our own YouTube channel to know when that happens.
Let's hold off on talking about that game too much.
Yeah.
Like obviously, but like let's hold off because we're gonna go into it a little bit here.
What have I been up to? I got my dick stomped on Monday.
This is a colorful episode. Oh my god,
dude, I'm running out of them. Like I'm on baby watch. Let's see. Tuesday, I pulled off a last second. I got a Legion game at a store I hadn't gamed at yet. So I was able to put Clan Ren on the table into an Empire match.
What store did you go to?
It is called Forge and Factions. It is in Chesapeake, so it's actually closer to my apartment than where I normally play. It's a smaller store. They have some weird hours, but like it's a good solid store, and they're trying to get like a Legion scene kicked off. So
yeah,
couldn't find a Shatterpoint game, so it's like, okay, let's roll the dice.
If you ever feel like driving down towards Richmond, check out Battlegrounds. It's on the northern side.
I've heard nothing but good things about Battlegrounds. So.
It's a massive store. It's really good. It's just a little bit of a drive for you.
2 hours and change, no problem.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good for an event.
We'll get back to that eventually. Yeah. No, I think they did an MCP event recently, and one of our locals drove up there for an MCP event like a month ago and had a great time with it. So
When I left Virginia, they were still running MCB very hard. A lot of the guys there are guys that go to Nova. They frequent Battlegrounds quite a bit actually. So
I believe it. I mean, having gone to Richmond Open and everything, and met the Richmond guys and the North Virginia guys, like,
they're great dudes.
yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. We'll get our scene there, but making a lot of progress there. Wednesday, I got my league game, which was, I thought that was a really interesting game, and I'm pulling up the stats so I can just kind of like jog my memory a little bit on how that kind of went, because that was one where, did I play? Oh, you know what I played? I was really excited about that. I did. I played into Mini King, and I put Balin Maul on the table into Veers with Vader 2. And, I mean, Vader 2 still holds up. I mean, if you don't get Vader locked, he's going to hit you pretty hard. And I think he works, like, Stormtroopers don't necessarily want to fist fight, so Vader 1's not, like, a great fit. So if you want to play a Vader, I feel like Vader 2's a really solid option there. And we played on Never Tell Me the Odds. I brought Balin Maul, and man, when Maul shows up, like, he had the game-winning play for me, where he killed a model on one side of the table, which set up the other side of the table for me to be scoring and, you know, just pulling and dragging people. Just, Maul is really, really solid, and I think if you're not looking at Maul, and if someone's not playing Maul locally, be the change you want to see and play Maul. He's got a lot of depth, and between... So I get a lot of games with, like, Dork Esquire, who came out of the, I want to say Tulsa scene. Pretty sure it was Oklahoma. Or Omaha, Nebraska. It was one of them. Somewhere in the plains.
I gotta pause you real quick. When you say Omaha, or think of the word Omaha, do you think of Tom Brady or the band? The Omaha.
It would be Tom Brady. It would be Peyton Manning.
I'm sorry. Yes. Whenever I think of football, and I think of,
I have never heard of that other song you're describing.
What? Yes, you have. Counting Crows, isn't it? Counting Crows.
I didn't count them. But
Yeah.
when I think of, I don't put a lot of thought into Omaha. I'm not gonna lie. I've never been there, and I've flown over it. Not to be that guy.
I'm putting this in Discord. You have to listen to it later, and then you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember this from way back when."
I probably won't, but I will maybe try to expand my musical horizons with that. But a lot of people, and I know we talk about Maul a lot on this cast, but a lot of people think of Maul as a brawler, and he's
a shot caller.
Like, he is actually, yes. Like that is 100% the way to do it. Like, Maul is the shot caller. He's got 20-inch blades on the Impaler.
Sure.
Oh boy.
I did understand that reference.
I am not drinking enough for this episode because, by the way, my drink in the corner is a water because it's just been a long day. But maybe I need to change that up on this mid. I'll take my FIFA mid-quarter break and go change it up and get a beer.
2 halves. Ted Lasso fans, anybody? 4 quarters? 2 halves. And if
I'm in the chat. I don't know how to respond to that.
Most people don't. But, like, I'm having just a lot of fun with Maul because, like, for me, like, I didn't play a lot of Maul early in the game. It wasn't a model I was drawn to, but, like, the more I play it, the more I'm seeing all sorts of, like, really cool plays with that. And you guys know that because you guys are both, like, Maul truthers from way back when. Maul with Balin, it's like, it's really next level. Like, I had a game a couple of weeks ago where Maul just, like, one-shot Darth Vader twice. It was in the same game. It was gnarly. Like, with the extra expertise, he just pushes a weird amount of damage through. Love that. But yeah,
do you mind going into, like, what version of Maul Balin you played? Because I think that is important here.
Yeah. So I've been running Maul Shakti Padawans. I really think that I mean, the Padawans are just solid. Like for a 3 at 8 hit points, they do a lot, and it sets up Shin if you needed like to move Shin, right? But Shock T makes it 7-4. Small's not spending any of it, and the ability to move Shin or even Balin. I think Balin's the one that really benefits from like even just a dash a little bit to get off the starting line. It goes a long way. And Shakti herself, like, she has a lot of really good turns. Sometimes she's force neutral, and sometimes she just ends up in the middle of the board and just completely reshuffles the entire table. Like, I've had a lot of games come down to, like, here's what Shakti's doing right now to swing this game back in my favor. But between Shakti, Maul, and
she
Balin,
ain't no slouch. She slaps. She
Yeah.
slaps.
And she's pretty reliable on offense if you remember the trigger where she just like, oh, did you roll expertise? Cool. Kill one of your...
Fainting blow.
Yeah. Fainting blow is a really good ability.
And then now
like-
you're getting unlocked expertise with Balin. Like, oh god, we're getting into the episode bits here, but
Yeah. No, like, Shakti's like kind of almost the cornerstone of it. You could probably swap Maul for something else, but why? Like, Maul's just doing so much work there. So I played that into... Mini King this week is my league game, and I did win that, and it came down to Maul doing the game winning play at the end. Then Thursday, I think I did what I committed to the bit. I wanted to try Balin with Kanan, and so I did play that locally into a Vader Kiadi Mundi. So I put it into a stress test with one of our... he had played before, but like he's recently returned to the game and everything. I lost that one 2-1. It did not 100% function the way I wanted it to, but it was mostly like Kanan just was not hitting the break points I really wanted. It was just a weird dice game. Like in theory, the push from 2 to like 3 expertise seems really, really good on paper, but it just... I had pushed it just to, like, with Shatterpoints and everything to make it happen as frequently as possible. And I brought Sabine to be able to dash Kanan and hunker him. So he had a hunker pretty regularly, and I just was not able to push what I wanted. But it was also a game where, like, Vader and Kiadimundi just both showed up. Balin was kind of actually the rock star of that game. He just kind of dominated one side of the table and was a huge problem for a good chunk of his list to deal with. And then I played Balin Hondo tonight, which I really, really liked that. Like, having the ability to, like, all right, I'm going to add dice, and then I can add expertise. Like, you can really push for favorable results on your offense. Balin, Shin, and the HKs kind of played like one side of the table, and the three of those 3 units together, like they have a weird amount of healing on their trees. Like he put a lot of hate into Balin, and Balin never fell over. He just would always heal off and did what he needed to do. And then I had Hondo, Ezra, and Lando Bartu. And Lando and Bartu are a model that I just continue to really appreciate, particularly in the Balin list, because where I find Balin to struggle is if he gets condition locked. And Barcart and Lando solve that. And I paid a force to do it. Like, Balin had 7 damage on him. All right, he activates some Wipe Strain, and now we're just going to go to town. Ezra was the one where it's like Ezra just kind of wound up dropping at a weird time and had to go play a weird objective, and Elite Squad just kind of ran him through a wood chipper, and then Lando finished the job. His Lando didn't do much. He basically babysat a corner, but the one time he pulled off a shot, it like sent Ezra like 3 or 4 shoves backwards and killed him, and Ezra never came up again. So I guess Lando kind of didn't like that Ezra was using Lando's name for shady shit. I don't know. But it was a really fun game. The more I play Balin, the more I find some interesting nuance to his kit. And Hondo is... I love playing Hondo. Every time he hits the table, I'm having a blast.
I think the interesting thing with Hondo with Balin is you kind of have like the world as your oyster, and like just take whatever you want.
And I don't want to get too ahead of us with some of the topic that we're going to be talking about tonight, but like I've got some thoughts around like Hondo with Balin in particular and what that kind of can look like.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to that.
Fair enough. All right. For me, I'm drinking Alaskan Amber, and
I've got the James Bean Vanilla Oatmeal Porter again because I didn't say what I was drinking.
Fair. So we got that. Again, we started off the week with a very much. I think in my opinion, it was a showcase of what a Balin list and armor list is like capable of. I think I had like a lot of things just go my way, which let it really set that up. I
For
got
context,
perfect
we
draw
probably
order.
need to talk through what the lists were because not everyone necessarily watched it.
So Balin box, Balin bow HKs, and then the armor box, and it very much like I would argue like everything just went my way. I had good dice, I had good draw order. I think it just showcased what was possible with that type of list. I drew Balin at the bottom of the deck, and it was like, I guess he's just gonna go over here, and it doesn't matter. Like he's cool.
When your
I don't have.
secondaries were doing the horsepower that they were.
Mm-hmm.
Balin was kind of like the scene at the end of the Ahsoka show where he just kind of walks out in his cape on the statue of the father and just kind of stands there menacingly. Like that's all Balin really did that game, and frankly, he didn't need to do much more than that.
Be menace.
Well, I mean, like his identity did all the work. Like
his
like
identity
Paz,
did the work. Like Paz is a problem with that amount of expertise adjustment. Like,
yeah.
And if you hit him or hit his friend, like that 5 dice is like I roll 5 dice and 8 results. Like,
yeah, I don't think I
need
didn't
to
full.
stop hitting Paz.
I had 5 force and I Paz triggered twice, and I full treat every time Paz attacked that game.
Wow.
Yeah, like I walked out of the game like it was a mistake. Like, but Paz just was up the board early, and I had to put pressure into him because that was the game state, and that was a huge problem for me. And then like it was very tight. Like, it's strategic positions, right? So like the action was focused pretty tight in the board center, and like, oh cool, I got to get rid of these coverts. They die, and Paz kills me back. Like,
It was exciting.
It's cool.
It was really fun.
It was really rough. And then I went and told one of my locals about it, and my local went and like ran over Doug with it too. It was like he's been playing a lot of armor, so I was like, "You just painted Balin," and this dude's like next level painting. Like I'm almost embarrassed to put my stuff on the table comparatively, but he put armor Balin on the table. It was like, dude, your models look good, and you just painted it. Here's the thing you could run if you want to kind of like keep in the realm of what you've been playing, and
Yeah,
just did the exact same thing. Just like nukes the world.
it's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. But so other than that, I've been doing a lot of hobbying. Been doing a lot of hobbying for Legion, getting all my bases ready and get painting locked in my paint scheme, which is exciting.
Your bases look so good. I love what you did with them.
Thank you. They were really dark earlier, and then like I started looking at like more pictures of Mandalore, and I started seeing like there is like a green tint on all of like the edges of the rocks. So then I went through and added the green to it, and like somebody had commented like it's kind of dull, and I was like, that's fair. And I started like redoing some more research, and like, no, let's add a splash of green, and they look so much better with the green on it. It looks so cool, and then it ties it into the green on the model, and I'm really excited to get these things done, to see them when they're all the way done. So
it's always kind of the interesting thing with basing, right? Like you can do like almost like a contrasting color to like make the model pop more, or you can keep it dull to like emphasize the model more, or like even if you go the complementary route, like there's a lot of different ways you can do basing that just make the models really interesting.
And, like here's the Wheelo tank base, like it just looks super dope,
so good.
And I kept I put the rocks to keep the whatever you call it, the facing. That way you could actually like see the facing for it, because I was like, I'm not gonna be able to see where the facing is if I do the base.
Yeah, right. The fun with Legion of like, oh wait, I gotta still carve this thing out.
Yeah, so I was like, I did that, and I was like, that's that, and then like when the tank's on it, like it'll be fine. So.
And then just because I also have my tank handy and everything, I went because I'm playing a lot of Clan Ren with Chronist, which is the Clan Ren homeworld, and it's got a lot of like snow and like patches of snowy grass, but like you've got the really good dimensionality to it, where mine's still flat,
Yeah.
but like I kept the firing arcs, so you can
Yeah.
see the arcs through the
I mean,
paint
you
that I
have to
used.
keep the firing arcs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
You
did it
don't
with rocks. I
have
just did it
to.
with
It looks
well,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
the way Diz did it's cool.
Yeah.
But have you actually done the tank yet? Because the tank was just
It's primed.
so much fun to paint. Like this thing is
So-
such a cool model.
I have an idea for it. Is I'm gonna paint it in like the box art, and then I'm gonna go and get some stencils for like the Mythosaur skull and spray paint them on with stencils. And
That's pretty cool.
that's the plan. And then I got Swole I don't what was Swoledorian. What is that what he's called? I don't know. Terry. Like because so the model the weak weight arms are fucking jacked. Like dude looks like he's been
Yeah.
taking nothing but protein and creatine since he was born. Like the arms are sculpted into that model are just insanely ripped. So I took a Mando torso and a Mando head and put those weak weight arms in, so it looks like a Mando wearing cut off sleeves and a scarf arm.
You need to send
And
me a
I
picture
sent-
of what it's supposed to look like.
I sent a link to Diz. There's a character in the old bounty hunter game named Montross, and Montross is like Jango Fett's arch nemesis in the game and one of the final boss battles, and he's exactly that. He's got the Mandalorian armor, but then he puts on the helmet, but he keeps his like arms like exposed and everything. He's just jacked. He's also played by Clancy Brown, so if you're a fan of like Savage Press and some of other Clancy Brown work, like he voices Montross in that game, and it like you sent that, it's like that's Montross. That's exactly
Yeah.
him. Yeah, I
There's
kept,
somebody-
like close to the box art, but then did like splashes of yellow on the little teeth looking stuff, and then random panels.
There's somebody in the Legion Discord who put that picture up of the guy, and there's an STL a file floating around for a 3D print for it now.
There is Darkfire Designs had a whole series of like between Montross and members of the Koival Dar and Fen Scheisse got a model out of that line. Like he's got a lot of really cool models.
Yeah.
So if you like 3D prints, I just did a 3D printed model. It was their I think their gunslinger one, and he was kind of interesting. He's got like a trench coat, like a knee length trench coat under the armor and everything. So he's got like a little bit of like the like a gunslinger flare. And then I took one of the extra jetpacks off sprue and glued it to him. It's like that could be my my gunslinger hunter guy if I wanted to. Like that's fun.
Yeah, but I've been having a lot of fun with like basically hobbying Mandos and just taking my time with getting them painted and figuring out how I wanted to do it. So that's been exciting. Played a couple of games of Legion, played some StarCraft, then looking at MCP again too, because like, everything's played here, which is great. Like all my games are being played here, which is amazing. I got up to Mox and saw some of the local scene there. I think I played Armor Balin there too. That was I think it was Armor Balin. But no, I don't think I did. I think I don't remember what I played. I don't remember now. Anyways, it doesn't yeah. I was playing Shin. But I don't remember what I
Grab
played
a
now.
refill while you do that.
Yeah. Along with that, then just been playing games and hobbying really, and then waiting for I played Fulcrum Balin, that's what it was. Fulcrum Balin into a newer guy. He's real nice. He was playing Delta with Lumi, which was super annoying. And I think I still think that list is super annoying. I don't give what anybody says. Like Delta Lumi is still a good list. Like it's
definitely
so
good,
annoying.
but I don't know if it's I don't. I think
It's
it
not
lost its
backbreaking in the
flair.
same way it was.
Yeah, it's still just very annoying to deal with and be like, okay. But no, it's been fun. It's a great summer so far of games. I'm loving it and basically just playing games all the time. And then wait until the fall starts and then I'll be school. Yay. So it's exciting. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll hit Qui-Gon's hot takes. He put one in here. And I do think this is an interesting thing. I kind of want to talk about it. From Qui-Gon, hot take, Rebels are in a similar spot right now that Empire was pre-patch. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
I think people are just tired of playing Rebels. I don't think Rebels are bad. I think Commandos still have the offensive firepower, right? That nothing changed for Commandos. Not Balin, Base Chirrut got like they got hit, but like it really wasn't that bad.
There's still a support that refresh force, which is good.
Yeah, like they have to be wounded, but like they're gonna end up in positions where you're gonna have to wound them. That's the game sometimes. You can't really avoid it in forever. I think Commandos are still really solid, and while like Infiltrate came down a peg, like I think there's an argument for Pathfinders in the slot now, and I think particularly if you're like looking at like Balin lists or even just like playing with Princess Leia and Pathfinders, I've won a lot more than I've lost putting Pathfinders just anywhere on the table between scale and like full speed running, and then you're with like if you want to play them in a Balin list, they keep it like they just run.
Yeah. So Qui-Gon says it's not that they are bad; it's that they got hit without getting anything back. I just the comment though, like, is that they're in a similar spot that Empire was pre-patch. I think that is like overextending the take a little bit too much. I think it's decent to say that like Rebels got nerfed and touched, but I don't think they're nearly as in a rough spot as Empire was. And I think that comes down to I just think that comes down to Rebels have superstar support still. You got Han, like I guess they're not Rebels, but they are in our hearts and minds.
Han and Chewie, like for sure, kind of play well there, and I think a lot of Scoundrels do generally, because most Rebels have some overlap with Scoundrel. So the list might look a little bit different, but like I think even before Baze and Chirrut like arrived, people were looking at Cassian as a vehicle for like Scoundrels to do stuff, and I don't think that's bad. He's still 9 squad points.
Yeah.
You just have to be a little bit more judicious with your force use playing him. But like Rebels still have Kanan, which I would easily put Kanan in top tier as a model. Princess Leia like can still absolutely put a game on her back and carry it. I don't think General Solo is bad by any means, and they have a really solid supporting cast in their secondaries, like Ezra, Sabine, Callus. Like these are all like workhorses that can do well in the current environment. And like Sabine with Pathfinders, like that's a secondary throw and supports long range. Like there's a lot of really interesting stuff Rebels can do. It just looks a lot different now. The Cassian was a crutch that's been taken away. It's time to adapt.
What if instead of saying they're like Empire pre-errata, what if I said they were like separatists post the first errata? Because that's where I look at them at. They're
still have
solid,
way more options.
But like, I don't know if I agree with that. Way more options that are effective. I mean, yeah, they have a few more, but they're still very limited by. I mean, more in just. They're still limited by the number of unique names, right? But in terms of just, I'm saying more the general state of where they fall in the meta, right? You lost one of your core pieces got nerfed, and you just didn't get a whole bunch of buff. You just weren't part of the rising tide, and that's where I feel like the Rebels are right now. Is like they had Baze and Chirrut take a little hit, Cassian take a little hit. And they just didn't get anything while everyone else got new toys and got changes. That's where I feel like I look at them at.
All right. Well, so I don't mind the take, but like let's be Matt and Devil's Advocate here. What would you buff besides Boosh?
Baze and Chirrut. That was facetious, by the way. Just to be clear.
I would hope so. There's only one direction Baze and Chirrut could have gone when they were doing what they were doing. Like I know that we're saying they didn't get anything, but like Ewoks got a ton, and that's still like Rebels aren't just Rebels, right? They overlap with Ewoks, they overlap with Scoundrels, they got a lot.
Bar2 Lando.
I could see Bar2 Lando, and I could see Zeb and Chopper. Like I want to see buffs for all those things.
Yeah, and you know, it's like Chopper and Zeb aren't bad by any means. They're just, I'm like, I think the closest point of comparison for Zeb and Chopper is probably Del Mico, and you'll play Zeb and Chopper, so they're already like C tier.
Well, you
My
play them because you're playing. Sorry, Matt, but you're playing Zeb and Chopper because you're leaning into more than likely either Warrior tag for Ewoks or you're leaning into Spectre tag for Revenge, and that's the only places that you really, in historically, have felt the need to take Zeb and Chopper. Like
And
that's
honestly, I think in Ewoks, you put Pathfinders in before Zeb.
nowadays, sure.
Or honestly, I think you might put Ewoks in before Zeb. Like,
I mean, yeah, no, true. But Matt, what were you gonna say? Let's give you a chance.
To me, the reason I like Bartulando is right. Like, I think what made is now an issue for Rebels is, well, what was keeping kind of Rebels down a little bit, I think, was the fact they only had 2.5 good supports. So in my mind, like, supports that you consider top tier, right? And obviously we know a lot of the meta gets driven around the supports. So,
Yeah.
although actually I think that's changing a little bit, but I just think in general, Bartulando gives them a lot of flexibility. They're unique character names that only very lightly impact the rest of the unique tag world. Like, right, it's 3PO and it's the actual Lando. Oh, we lost the Diz. Bum, bum, bum. But in my mind, that's where I'm at. I would like to have seen them get a buff somewhere else, and I think a 3 cost is solid.
yeah, they're in an interesting spot, right? Because like, and I just played them tonight, so very fresh on some thoughts here. They're very technical. I think they're held back by their 7 hit points, maybe, but like they also can't be shot more often than not. So there's a little like they're a little bit balanced by that. And having played them with the HKs, like, yeah, it's a weird thing where like 7 squad points just kind of feels weird sometimes. And the same goes for Tech and Echo. Like, Tech and Echo do not need to be 7 hit points. They should be 8. And maybe it's because they're unique. Maybe because like you're paying the cost of like you can't play them Ewoks because R2 is such a central component of how Ewoks function. You can't. Maybe you should have 8 hit points for them at minimum. And their expertise not great, but like it's damage.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of where my head's at. If it were me, that's one of the things I would have liked to have seen adjusted.
Yeah, because like the Luke box got a pretty big overhaul because Luke got a huge buff. But like R2 and Lando are like they're good, but they're just kind of like adequately good, and Boosh is left behind. That box could use a revisit.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I was really surprised. I think Boosh was really I think one of the ones that really popped out to me as the most surprising.
So
overlook?
Boosh is interesting for me because like I told Plumber when we interviewed, right, and he asked what we thought like we should have seen in there, and Boosh was my answer because I think Boosh is kind of like a central point to what I was arguing a couple minutes ago. Rebels have a lot of overlap with Scoundrels, with Ewoks, spies being 9 out of 10 spies are Rebel tagged. Leia, like as Boosh, sits in so many ways and could increase overlap with bounty hunters, which is interesting. There's so much potential for Leia as like a piece of glue that can hold together a whole bunch of like disparate things into a rebel shell, and she just doesn't have the ability to do it outside of like the thought of like she's got every cool tag. She's scoundrel, bounty hunter, rebel, spy, like
Every tag. Speaking of every
she
tag,
has so many good tags and like but isn't good enough to like play for any of them.
The router picked a wonderful time to restart.
I was just riffing on like Boosh stuff to buy you time. So
Good. I just So like I agree with the Lando Bartu. I agree with Boosh. I feel like I don't know. Like it's hard to think of like what actually needs some help in Rebels because they're not in a bad spot. And I don't know, like what else could you do? Like they're all like on the cusp, and like what do you just give them like a little extra damage push, a little like, more mobility? I think it's more of a Rebels have always kind of been in this vein of Kings of Revenge, I would argue. And is that enough of a shtick to be?
No, because like Leia and Kanan do it. Han kind of does, but honestly, I don't think you're playing Han for the revenge trigger. I think you're bringing Han for like mobility and some of the gimmicks around momentum and everything. But like,
Yeah.
think about their other primaries: Luke, Fulcrum, Hera.
Fulcrum's
aren't centered.
wait, Fulcrum's rebel. Yeah, she's rebel, I guess.
She is Rebel
Yeah,
and
she is.
Force user. Yeah, technically correct. They don't really focus around revenge mechanics, but like, are they doing enough to to encourage you to build Rebels in a different direction, or did they just kind of like that? Their best models were the ones that played revenge, and that was just kind of where Rebels landed. I think Rebels have an edge on mobility largely. They've got a lot of secondaries that do it.
Okay, so color. Tell me what you think about this. Is Rebel design so far in the game of Shatterpoint just too safe and boring?
That I think might be fair, particularly in some of their older models. And like Matt and I were talking about before you rejoined from your router crash, you end up in this interesting spot where like Luke got fixed, but the rest of the box is like lagging behind a little bit. Like looking at Boosh, like her expertise is not worth writing home about. Especially like she almost wants to fight in melee, and her kit's designed around it, but I mean her expertise is 1 damage. Like it's not. It's older,
point,
safer design. It's not pushing an envelope.
my point is like if we look at Rebels, the only times Rebels are like meta relevant is because they're broken, not because they're like good. It's because they're broken. Would you agree with that statement, the two of you?
Anytime they've been relevant.
No,
Kanan
because
Kanan meta.
Kanan Meta was in
Was
response to
Kanan
Iden
even
being
yeah,
broken. He was the
and-
best answer.
And he
Like,
still
that
wasn't
wasn't
even a
Rebel
good
problem.
answer.
And was Kanan touched? Okay, I guess I'm being hyperbolic here for a reason. Okay, let me
Wait,
put that disclaimer
what?
on here.
Hold on now.
Let me put a disclaimer
Do you
on
want
here so I
Rebels
don't
to
get a
have
whole lot of hate
nothing?
mail.
Like,
But no, think about this. Kanan hasn't eaten a nerf.
he doesn't need to, I would
Yeah.
argue.
No, I don't think he does either. But like,
Yeah.
it's just I think Rebels at the moment kind of fill a specific style of the game for the most part. I don't think all Rebels fill this, but like their swingers very much are very good during very specific metas. And I still subscribe to the thought that we don't have a defined meta yet, so it's hard for Rebels to land anywhere.
And Empire does have, like, if we're looking at like Rebels versus Empire for like thematic reasons or what have you, Empire has an edge just because of how broad they really are. Like they range from the prequels all the way up into the Mando era with like Morgan, Gideon, like they just have such a broad way of playing where Rebels are confined to a single era and have so much overlap just with their own pieces between 3 versions of Leia, 2 versions of Han, 2 versions of Chewie, 2 versions of Luke, 2 versions of Lando, like 2 versions of R2. You have to make a lot more choices with Rebels, and you end up in a weird spot where they're good, but they're so disparate, and you can't build too wide with it just because you end up spread too thin. And they don't have the supports to really back it up. Like, I love Zeb and Chopper, but they're not Fifth Brother. They're not
Okay,
Elite
how about
Squad.
this? Instead of Rebels are only good when they're broken, are Rebels to left, right, front, center backwards, upside down. Like they're going so many different directions with their play styles that they don't have one direction they could focus directly. If that makes
now
sense.
that Cassian took the Nerf hammer, you can't pigeonhole into revenge quite as well anymore. You can, but I don't think I mean, it just does not function the same. And it like other play styles with them don't have a defined identity. You have to find ways to like mix and match with other tags that they can play with.
Well, then it comes the question is, are we as players and content creators, are we pigeonholing certain quote unquote factions into play styles that don't really exist, so to say?
I mean, there was some really interesting conversation earlier today in the cantina about Fulcrum and how Fulcrum can fit into the meta now. I haven't had a ton of success with her, but you know, maybe like Fulcrum has an opportunity now because she does push a different play style. I think Luke has just been overlooked. I don't think Luke is bad by any means. He's a Jedi that can attack twice.
Luke comes back to the same thing that Matt said earlier, is there's so many stuff that you want to play in Rebels that has the naming issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If Luke could play with Luke.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. Great. Different game, for sure.
So it's like Rebels have a lot of tools, but it's like, which name are you going with? And so I think that comes back to the statement of, are Rebels too spread in their direction?
Probably.
I want to hear from Matt because his face has been like very thinking.
The problem is I just feel like that's a broad. I don't know if that's if that's the answer, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
I agree they are more spread, I think, than other factions. Is that the problem? If you wave a magic wand at it, I don't think that fixes things.
Sure.
So therefore, I don't know if that's the problem, right? Like that's where my pondering is, right? I agree with what you're saying. I don't know if it's as end all be all, and that's really what's deciding things. I don't know. I personally, I think it's just because the models, your supports were your strong point. They're now just okay. You know, I feel like they just took a little bit of a hit. Yeah.
You have one chance. Let's say AMG's listening and they said, you have one chance to fix Rebels and you can only do one thing. What would you do?
One thing only to fix Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hold on. Fix one, like physically do one thing to a card, not like I can do multiple. I can pick one unit and just do things to that unit.
Yeah, you could do. Let's do. I don't know. The thing that I think about is more of bring more exciting decisions to Rebels. I think that's what I would do. I don't think they have exciting decisions. To me, when I look at Rebels, I get very bored. I don't really enjoy playing Rebels. Like Cassian was neat, but at the end of the day, he just did what Leia does, but better. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, I'm feeling like I'm taking the bait here. You're wrong. Like, he does a very different thing from PLC.
Get right.
At the end of the day, in my opinion, the play pattern of Cassian was very similar to the play pattern of Leia, which is very similar to the play pattern of Kanan. The play pattern, not what they're doing on the table, but the play patterns.
Yep. Sure. Is the play pattern not what they're doing on the table?
I mean, not necessarily, because like PLC gets an attack back, Kanan gets an attack back against anybody. Cassian just gets to move somebody, but the play pattern overall and like the stuff you're trying to do throughout the game, not the micro decisions, but the macro decisions. So the macro decisions of Rebels are almost too same across its primaries and the lists, I would argue.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to just look at 3 of their primaries and make that call, sure. If you want to
mean,
ignore the existence
what else
of
do they
Han
have?
and Fulcrum and
But though, even Han,
and-
even Han. Look at Han. What's Han doing that's different?
he's
I think Han's a terrible example because Han probably
Han's a
has
terrible
the most.
example because when
he
when
he
when you
probably
move
has
stuff, Han does a thing. and
Han
that's,
Han is probably the most interesting of all the rebels primaries in my
like,
opinion.
yeah, thank you. Like Omnis and chat. Jin's doing something very different. I think
I
people
honestly-
are looking at Jin a lot.
When is the last time you played against Jin or played with her? Right, Akizu, you don't count because you play with weird stuff all the time. But
I played against a lot
Jin's
of Jin
good.
when I was in Phoenix.
I just feel like Jin is being.
I took Jin to Richmond.
no, we're leaning into our topic now. I think Jin is being slept on in the current conversations of the game.
100%. I don't think that's a Jin problem. I think it's people are tired of playing Rebels because of Cassian, and Cassian made everyone feel bad.
But Jin is a whole entire different style of rebels, which is the whole entire point. What I've been trying to get to. Again, I was being hyperbolic for a reason. I was being
I don't
very
disagree with
pointed
you.
for a reason.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Like there is so much space within rebels to explore, and like the fact of like stuff that I see in discussions is like it's the Morgan show, it's this, it's that. It's like, but what
I'll
like,
admit, like, we just spent a lot of time talking about Rebels, and I didn't mention Jin once, and that's on me. Because
I mean, I was hoping so. It worked. It worked out for what I was shooting for with this. So I'm glad you didn't bring her up because I've been waiting. Because to me, Jin is like Pandora's box of rebels right now. She is probably the least explored rebel primary from discussion perspective. Every time I see discussions with rebels, when's the last time you saw Jin be talked about in rebels discussions?
I
You know what?
think
That's fair.
I think Ahsoka 3 is talked about less in Rebels discussions.
Not if
I
you
mean,
were in
fair.
the cantina today.
Today Fulcrum was talked about a lot. So.
It's like,
But I think the biggest thing to think about here is I don't think anything needs to be changed with Rebels. I think it comes back to what Matt was saying, what you were saying, what was said in the chat by Omnis and other people. Like people just
gotta
need to rethink Rebels. Like there's a whole lot there. If you enjoy the Rebels, go play the Rebels. I think Jin is a perfect primary to play right now. I think Han is a perfect primary to play right now.
I think Han Jin has legs, like, in all seriousness.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
a good list.
Like I hate playing Rebels because I just don't care for the characters in the movies. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't care for them.
I have an answer to your earlier question.
Yeah, go ahead. Which one was that?
I think to fix Rebels, you need to make it so they don't have to abide by the unique name tag rule.
What if that was an identity of like a primary of the core rule of names does not apply to this list?
That'd be a cool identity.
What?
Like somebody's identity is like you can break the legendary or the unique character name rule
Mm-hmm.
extensively, is what he's saying.
How would that...
I mean, it works very simply. It's just you just take whatever you
I
want.
mean- Sure, PLC Boosh sounds like a blast, because that's a lot of spies that are just running loose, but...
But I just think so. It's the topic that we wanted to get to today is very much what is being missed in the conversations. What is being missed in the conversations of competitive Shatterpoint currently, and it's like, what are the sleepers? What are the things that aren't being talked about? What are the things that are falling under the radar? Or what are the things that are like maybe being overlooked and looked at in the wrong light? And I think Jin very much is probably one of the key examples of this, because she's doing something completely different in the game that we've had before. She's never really had her moment to shine. I think Jin Han is just such a killer list, and I'd
It's
love
so
to see it
cool.
more. I would hate to play against it, but I would love to see it more. But it's just
Do you like two primaries running around double tapping and gunslinging really fast? It's the list for you. Do you like...
no, Matt. This
profiting
is
when
the
they gain
list.
momentum?
This is the list for you, Matt. Is Jin Han?
Oh, I have played Jin Han. I like it. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if I love it in this meta.
So why is that? What do you think about that?
I just think it's gonna. you don't quite do you're very wide, right? We talked about it. They do a lot of things, but they just do a lot of things okay.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
That's fair. And I do want to give some credit to Qui-Gon, who's done a lot of like looking at stats and launch shanks and all this, which is good to understand. It's good to understand win rates and looking at this stuff. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the conclusions, but I do recognize that you're putting the work in with these stats and relaying it to the community, because it is stuff that's important to know for the competitive mindset. I have a hard time thinking that we do have a meta. And Matt, you said that the meta that we are in, I'm curious what you think about this and what you think the current meta we are in / going into actually is.
I mean, like defining, like what am I calling that meta? I don't know.
Yeah, because you said Jin Han isn't good in the current meta. What is the current meta?
What I would define the current meta, I'm worried about Morgan X-less. I'm worried about Veers. I'd keep certainly like Vader one, an Anakin Skywalker, and another either Mace, Kiadi, Padme. I think anything in there is still really good. I said Mandos, right? If not Mandos.
But what you're describing though is the game, not a specific subset. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not really like.
Oh, are you talking about like how broad
I think the meta.
can you define
Yeah,
what
to
the
me,
meta is?
yeah, to me the meta is so broad currently. Still, it's not. It has not narrowed down yet.
Sure. I mean, you've mixed up a lot of stuff. They didn't add anything super splashy. Like they didn't add anything game breaking with the most recent wave, which is good. They didn't, they didn't bust it that way. No, I agree with you. I think the meta is very, very non-defined right now. Certainly.
And I do, again, I don't want to sound like I'm dogging Qui-Gon for his take on the meta. I do 100% think you're doing the Lord's work that I don't want to do. Like 100%.
I do so much Excel and statistical analysis at work. I don't want to do it for fun either. But,
and I think he brings up really good points that the stuff to look out for is stuff like Morgan and PLC. And I think him shouting out Lumi is actually super interesting, because I agree. I think Lumi is something that's going to be very prevalent going forward for the next while, because she's just generically good and does stuff. And that's kind of just that's what's winning games right now, is does your team do stuff?
I think Lumi still has tons of potential with the Grievous shell that used to be a thing. I'm certain people are working on that again.
Yeah.
I think the changes to B2s in particular make that spicy.
Yeah. I think the Lumi, because again, Qui-Gon and Joseph had talked about the Lumi Grievous list and how that's like scening again because of like the B2s and B1s lethality and stuff.
B2s are scary now.
But I think a lot of the stuff he's been putting out lately has been very interesting to hear and get his perspective on. And I would just say anybody who wants to get some competitive insight as to what's going on, he's actually gone through and looked at all these stats and put time and effort into looking at the stuff. Go watch his videos and see his meta-analysis, because it's worth understanding that, because he literally breaks the numbers down and just reads it for what it is. And that is the best thing you could do with these types of stats, is reading them for what they are. And I appreciate him for doing that. Yeah.
It certainly makes for interesting conversation, for sure.
100%. Now, with that being said, I do personally think that we are in a super wide meta. I do think that it's wise to be on the lookout for Morgan, know how to play into Morgan, know how to play into PLC, know how to play into Padme. But I think Padme is the one for me that I think she's just so different that we've had in Shatterpoint recently, that she turned into, I think she'll start to lose stock once people understand how to beat it. I think it's just fresh, and I think it's just a new idea of how to play the game. And I think it's just going to take time, and the time will lower Padme's win rate, not a list, not a specific counter. I don't think Padme's a pillar of the game. I think it's a misunderstanding of what to do against Padme.
I think Padme's going to be really nuanced, right? Because a lot of her kit, like she's buffing Seven Scorch, which they got nerfed, but like
Yeah.
we're okay with Rule 17 in melee. Like there's no they didn't really take a nerf. It's a slight restriction on where you get to use it. And I'm pretty sure it's actually more thematic that way, because I'm pretty sure in the game they say it when Sev grabs a guy and like stabs him in the back and everything. It's like that's when they were using Rule 17 as quotes in the game. I think there's a lot of interesting decision making with Padme, and I think that's where people are going to make mistakes, because I think there's a strong argument for like, do you run her to buff your supports? And Republic has top tier supports now.
Yeah, 100%.
Or do you keep her in tiebreak? And I think tiebreak's a lot more interesting because it's such a unique trigger that makes her function. And I think that if you're not familiar with it, it's going to get you. But I think you can get yourself by mistiming when she's doing what. Because the momentum triggers like Jhin. Jhin catches people off guard because like, when she healing, people get momentum at like weird times. Like, and now Padme's not where you thought she'd be.
I don't think the teleport is the thing that's like what makes Padme interesting. Because
not even the Sabe teleport thing, like just the like moving and tie breaking thing.
Yeah, but Krennic does the same thing. So why isn't Krennic being talked about in the same vein?
2 force versus 3.
My point here though is your point is Padme is a piece that can go take a point as a primary. Krennic does the same thing.
Yep.
That's my point here.
But
I'm not saying Krennic and Padme are the same. I'm just saying the point that was brought up was this. And like, well, Krennic does that. Why isn't he groundbreaking? Why isn't Moff being screamed to the high heavens? Because Moff does the same thing.
Moff doesn't do it as a reactive ability.
Okay, good point.
Moff has to do it on his turn. Unless you've got like a Vader dashing him. Padme gets a full move. Krennic, different problems, right? And I've used problems like very like loosely.
Yeah.
Where Padme as a primary exists in a faction where you're kind of defined in a few archetypes, right? Where it's like clones were a thing and Jedi were a thing, and we've talked about those where they're like kind of unique pillars of Republic where they overlap sometimes, but you're often benefited playing one direction or the other. Padme's not either, and therefore does something new for Republic where you're not locked into clones or Jedi, but can play something new. And I think like it's kind of like fixing a little bit of the Rebel problems where like Rebels were spread multiple directions, where Padme's a unifier and kind of doing something unique for Republic, where Krennic just kind of falls into, well, if you're running Krennic, why not Moff? Then you get 3 force and all of that. Like the different questions.
I want to hit up the chat because I think what I've been looking for was just said. Krennic doesn't have 7 Scourge. So
yep.
Is there the argument to be made that we are still in a meta of who has good supports?
You're never not in a meta where good supports, but it's not the only question.
That's why they're called supports, right? They're good supports.
I think we're moving. I think this is a meta where supports are making, I don't want to say the least impact, right? I think they're having a lesser impact in this meta, in my opinion.
Okay.
I still think they are the most important part of your list. I just think before, where they were, the lead they had on primaries has been shrunk, in my opinion. Let's go with that.
I'll agree to that. I think that's a fair statement. But I do think that the biggest thing is you look at how Padme does oh, she's a tiebreak. This is what's doing stuff. But she can move during not her turn, and she has amazing supports to back it up. So it is a more well-rounded list is able to be constructed under Padme, more so than stuff like Krennic or stuff like the other one. I can't Moff. So I think this is super interesting just to think about. I do think that Padme though is more of a skill. I hate saying this, but I think it's more of a skill thing that will. I think her win rate will start to even out as more people get reps into it and understand what Padme is doing. I do think that. Qui-Gon did say her win rate has only gone up over time, but I mean it's only been a month, 2 months now. So
We'll see what the next couple GTs do.
yeah. I'm curious to see where it goes. I do think Padme is something to look out for. This is all just this is all just my opinion and your guys' opinions of what you guys have said for what you think. I'm curious, but let's go ahead and get back to where we were trying to go with this and like stuff that's interesting.
Because we
and
spent a lot of time just between us, the wider community and everything, talking about what's good right now.
Yeah.
What are we not talking about that might be good, right? Like that's
And
where we're looking to go with this.
I think one of the biggest misses is 2/3 of the Balin box. Like I see a lot of people like talk about Balin and be like, oh yeah, he's neat. HKs kind of suck and Shin is very bad. I see a lot of these types of comments. I see a lot of people that do this. I think Shin needs a list built around Shin. Let's be real. I think Shin is good in the right list, but Shin needs a list built around Shin.
If you haven't tried Shin in Morgan Mother, you're missing out. It's a blast. Mother Talzin is Force user tagged, and Morgan can let you pay blood to do Shin's like reposition attack thing.
Yeah, I think
It's pretty gnarly. Yeah.
But I want to focus more on Balin specifically because I see, and Matt was saying that he hasn't really enjoyed Balin in that way, to thinking that he could push into the meta. I guess I'm paraphrasing here. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you agree with that? Like Balin has a hard time pushing into the meta.
I don't know if it's a hard time. Yeah, maybe meta relevant. He doesn't have an obvious home to me, which I think is both good and bad, right? Like it's good because then in theory he can go anywhere. The problem is historically he's an awkward point cost. He has a kit that's kind of not so, I wouldn't say specific, but like it feels like
Balin's, his era. Yeah, his biggest issue is the era. 100%.
Yeah, and
I think it's how you keep him balanced though. Like I think that's important, like game design wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's if you get him at the wrong time, he's definitely rough because he's slow. That's a big concern I have.
Yeah. Omnis says Matt nailed it. Balin has the least obvious list build. And I think what's funny about Balin is all of the lists and pairings for Balin that seem obvious don't feel good. Like Obi doesn't really feel that good with Balin. Mando doesn't feel that good with Balin. Like all these things.
Mando's kind of like an edge case though, because I've had a lot of fun with Balin Mando, and Mando's one where like he benefits from Balin in like he's got some interesting expertise results where in Bring You in Cold you can push for the like Ambin rifle Yahtzee and just put 7 damage into something, and that hurts some stuff now.
It does, but I think Balin is very much, and I have been talking with Omnis quite a bit about this, is Balin is very much similar to Maul in the regards of Paper isn't this character. Like there's more to this character than what Paper is. He's more of a support role than he is a pusher himself. His identity, and I think he had said that Balin, he wants to start looking at Balin more like Obi, where you're breeding the identity. This is what you want from this character, because it can really let you push certain characters to the next level. Like, let's think about coverts. How does it, or Paz? Let's think about these things. How does it feel when I can guarantee I'm adding 3 hits to every single attack?
The armorer pairing is particularly gnarly.
Yeah. But I think it's very much like, how do I look at, when I look at Balin, it's how do I throw Balin into a list to push the envelope of other characters? And I think that's the lens to look through Balin, is how is he pushing other characters, not what can Balin do during his turns? Because Balin's turns are arguably in my opinion, then you flip the Namon and then you just turn into a push bot.
There's a little bit of that, but like I think Balin, having played a lot of him, there's a lot of really interesting decisions. And I think like his Nemon stance rules because it allows you to do some really cool positioning. It's not gonna kill stuff reliably, but like at a certain point you don't really need it to. Between his dashes and the drag and everything, you can set up for really interesting through lines where you're like dragging people around it. He's very positioning oriented, which it feels like Balin in the show, where just kind of how he fights Ahsoka in his 2 fight scenes, where it's very positioning dependent, and you've got to really think through Balin's position on the table. And when you're positioning him correctly, he gets you an objective. If you are soloing somebody, he's going to outposition you, he's just bullying you off an objective. Where the support element of him is also really interesting. There's a lot of interesting models with interesting breakpoints that the expertise pushes up to the next level. I think a lot about, like, I've played a few games with him with Lando, and like Lando has, like, in, I want to say, the Idiot's Array stance, he goes from like the 1 expertise results, the difference between him hitting like 2 hits and 4. That's a significant jump, and it's his 8 dice side. So he's like going from 8 results to like 10 or 11. It's really strong. And it opens Balin to other tags, which I Empire's a really good one with him, just because EST's doing something interesting there, particularly with Shin, to like guarantee she can get a hunker.
I think there are very specific things to look for with Balin, and I think it's kind of dancing around it, right? And one is, if I'm playing with a Clone Wars era pairing, I want to try to fit Shaak Ti in, because Shaak Ti fixes a lot of the issues that Balin has, and that's mobility and force.
That's one angle on it.
I
Then
disagree.
like hanging out, because I played with Hondo today, and I ran Hondo as Rolando with Balin, and like Doug and I were talking after the game, and there's a really interesting world for Balin with Hondo, where, like, because you're getting extra dice, like obviously Balin and Shin profit there, but with Hondo, with the amount of era that you have access to, you've got access to things like Wrecker, which puts Shin and Balin inside protection, and Wrecker has really, really good expertise if you can access it with his dice. Hondo plus Balin fixes that. And then you look at things like the 5-0 first as like a 3 cost that can slot in with Hondo. They don't get the extra dice, but Balin guarantees their steadfast just as well as Obi-Wan does, while allowing them to hit harder. It's an interesting spot for, like, there's 3 different clones that get steadfast with their defensive maneuver that kind of look a little bit different than how they play under Obi-Wan, because now they're steadfast and pumping damage instead of, surviving.
It's not even just the damage in the offensive front, though. What I love about Balin with the Mandos is, everyone always says, God, if Mandos had 1 more dice throughout in a game,
what if you can have more? Because
that's what Balin says. Balin says, hey, my Mandos are rolling 5 dice in range now. Oh, now they're rolling 6 dice. Oh, if you're taking Clan Creeds, they could be rolling 7 dice. Like, with that expertise, that's kind of nuts. So, like, I think, again, we come back to, I think the issue with Balin is he's been looked at and talked about as a bad aggressor. I don't think Balin's an aggressor. I think he
not
is
what he
a
does.
support piece. He's a support piece that is great
And
at holding
control.
down support and control. And the other thing about him is if you need him to and you draw him at the right time, he can shoot across the map, pull something down, and slap it really fucking hard. So like, and that's what I love about Balin is you have the opportunity to shift on a dime if you draw him at the right times. Because if you draw him into the deck, you ain't doing that because you're gonna have like one force for him if that.
When he draws at the end of the deck, or if he's condition stacked by the time you get to him, he feels a lot more rough. So he can end up in like bad situations.
So let's go there, right? Because I think that's one of the things for me, at least, with Balin that's always been tough. And I have this problem with a lot of primaries, especially, right? Like to me, a primary is a model that it has to do something, right? When I draw this card, I need it to make a play. And Balin to me, just because of his mobility and because like I feel like every time I've seen him, it's like, okay, fine. He's almost like Anakin, where it's like, all right, you just understand anybody who gets close to him is at risk, and you just play around that and fine. Although, and he just doesn't move as well as Anakin, so that like, and maybe that's where I'm getting kind of hung up on him is the games I have seen him in. He has just been underwhelming. Is not even like feels like an understatement.
Sure. But I come back to, are you looking at him for what he did? You did say this, like you're looking at him for what he did during his turns. And I have had games with Balin, like our Monday night fights this week. Struggle 1, Balin literally walked forward, took cover, and stood on a point that would likely be active for the next struggle. And I don't even think it was. I don't remember now. But
let me ask you a
It would
question.
be a shame if we went and looked at it on video.
True.
How many other models in Shatterpoint could have done the exact same thing?
All of them, but do the other models make my Mandos more lethal and more defensive at the same time?
There's
That
probably a lot of
particular
Mando
game-
models that would do that, yeah.
It was a really interesting game because, like, when it came down to it, right, Balin didn't contribute a ton, but there was a threat range at the back of the board, like, and by the time I was pushing back that far, like, Balin would have absolutely just battered me. It was an interesting list because it showed what the potential for Balin's identity alone is. Where I'm getting hammered was like, that was before the primary even got into the fight. Like, if you can build a list around maximizing the expertise and getting hunkers and then using them, like, it hurts. And
So
it
I think-
changes a lot of the dynamic.
I think this is like a thought here is I wonder, I not wonder, but I guess maybe I do believe this is the way that what you pair with Balin decides how Balin's operating. Are you using him as a primary where he's going to go in slinging fist and you need him to do work? And I think that's a list that you're taking Shock T with. I think that's something you're using Ahsoka or Maul or Lumi. You're building basically a Balin list versus armor Balin. You're using Balin to supplement something like the Mandos, which are already on the curve of being a top tier piece. It just Balin's identity just takes him up that notch and turns him up to 11. I think there's two different lines of thought that you can go with Balin list is kind of what I'm thinking now.
And, like, when it comes down to it, Balin also does a huge thing for Mandalorians, because what Mandalorians have historically had a trade-off. Really solid offense, but shockingly low defense, where a lot of them are just rolling 4 dice on defense. I think about Sabine a lot. There's a few models. Like, I think Bo's only 4 dice on defense, right?
Bo, Gar.
What if from range it's suddenly like 6 dice? Like, their expertise goes a lot further when they're sitting behind a hunker token that can't be taken away by someone diving on top of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's that defensive element as well. It's doing a part of what Obi-Wan does, like guaranteeing that it sticks around. You don't get the benefit of the extra dice in melee or the dash and heal part, but like, just with some defensive expertise, that extra die or two goes a long way. Like, playing today with Ezra, I've played a ton of Ezra, probably more than any other secondary in the game. I had to look at his chart. Like, I don't know what 4 expertise on Ezra does. I'd never roll that. So he has 5 dice. That's very unlikely. And then suddenly, like, oh, he's in melee getting shot from downtown. What does this do?
Yeah.
Obi-Wan
No,
doesn't do that because he's
I
tag
just-
locked.
I just think it's super interesting because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I think it really is just Balin kind of is a super interesting like list builder character for this game, because I think it actually is I'm building two different lists and not how do I make this character do what I want it to do, but it's like it's all about the supporting cast and like slotting Balin in shifts. If I have Shock T, this is now the Balin show. If I'm going with armor, Balin is literally the guy dressed in black being a stage prop.
It's kind of interesting, and it feels almost thematic to how Balin is, right? Because like he's almost supporting cast to what like Thrawn and Morgan in the show, but like then there's scenes where he's monologuing and just absolutely dominating the scenes that he's in. But he also thematically knows when to step back and let the grunts go and do the labor.
Yeah, I think Matt, is there anything else you want to talk about with Balin? Because I think we're kind of beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the big thing to me is, again, I think where he's getting held back is his eras and his personal mobility, I think are the two big things. And then, the question is, I agree, he's a force multiplier, right? He's there primarily to improve the things around him. Does he do it well enough? I look at other units, other primaries that are trying to be that force multiplier. You've got Lumi, better identity in my opinion, more mobile, but worse tree, certainly worse combat. I don't know.
But have you looked at Lumi with Balin?
That feels not good. Is
It
there
actually-
too many supporting things?
No, I think it's actually kind of insane. I rather like the thought of it. It's on my list to try. I have not tried it yet, but it is on my list to try.
Come back to us once you've tried it. Let's go with that.
Honestly, it's one of those lists though where like looking at it on paper, Lumi just having the Force user tag makes it really interesting as an inclusion for Shin, and Shin likes having Balin, so it's a couple of intermoving parts. I'd be interested to see it.
I think the only thing that you wish you could take Shock T and Seven Scorch with that.
There's a reason you can't.
There's a reason you can. I think another thing I want to talk about is before we go on like other things that people should be looking to is HKs. I think HKs are stellar. They are a
incredible.
3-cost. They are a 3-cost that can go into any era. Oh my god, they're just like Magna Guards. They're a range 5 Magna Guard gun.
They're Magna Guards with a long range gun that can slap a primary from, like, they're 6 dice, which is like fine, but then it becomes 8 when you're hitting a primary.
Well,
and
that
they're
and
only 4 steps
one
down
X-
their tree. Like
6 dice with 1 expertise is 2 hits. Excuse me, covert Mandalorians. Like
they hit really hard. Yeah, are they fragile? 100%.
okay, let me put something in perspective real quick. 1 expertise is equal to half of their tree.
Yeah. No, it's really good. Like, when it comes down to it, right, you're not playing them for their survivability. They're not that
No.
model. They are
okay.
glass cannons, emphasis cannon.
But I wouldn't even call them glass cannons, but yeah, they do what 5 on 4, which they're probably going to be doing 3 or 4
They're
down their
5
tree.
on 4 and expose on the second step. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not
So the
double
second one-
shoving them, like, cool. The second one's going full tree.
So if you think about that, the likely outcome is going to be what 3 damage double shove expose into 5 damage double shove. So
It's not double
you
shove
could.
expose because expose is on the bottom. The double
Oh,
shove's
that's right,
on
right,
top.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. So 3 damage expose repo, and then if you attack the same target, and then you'll probably hit the 5 damage because they're exposed. So that's 8 damage. That kills most supports in the game.
And they're denting primaries for sure. And honestly, I think a lot of their value, like, how often have you sent a primary to go hold an objective and now you're diving HKs on top of them, and like you can put damage into them, sure, but their protection steadfast now. They're harder to remove and you've got to kill them. Like,
And then you get a revenge trigger and do your timing around and don't jump cannon out of range with them. And
Kanan doesn't get profit off of it, but like Leia doesn't mind.
She
doesn't
would
care
have
about the
she
tech.
would have liked it. But no, I have a hard time agreeing with the comments that HKs are bad. Like they're like everything dies in this game. Show me a tanky support.
I think
That's
HKs are the second best unit that came out in
oh
the
okay.
most
That
recent
might
wave.
oh okay. Most I thought you said in the game for a second. I was like that might be a
No,
little
that
too
came
too
out.
much,
Like
but-
I think Morg still is the
That
best
wave,
one.
yeah.
I think second
HKs
best
are
is
so
HKs.
good. Like
I don't hate
they
that
can do
though.
so many things. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think I would agree. I don't know. I think Knights are up there, other than the fact that Knights kind of I don't know. I very much think that Knights kind of need Morgan to be in their best place and their most optimized. But I don't know. I think you saying HKs are the second from the recent release is super interesting. I don't think I disagree. I think I agree with that.
They,
I think
they
it's-
do such a good job bullying. Like they just
Yeah.
can be anywhere. They're fast too.
And I think a big portion of that also is just they are costed very well and they are any era. So I
Yeah.
think like
And
I
they're
remember
also
like
tag agnostic. You could slot them in anywhere. and
Exactly,
get
right?
the
Like,
package. Like
they are everything you wanted Bar 2 Lando to be. Just plug and play 3 across the board. Here you go. Like
I think that is the biggest thing. Is any place that you were taking Bar 2 Lando before is probably just HKs now.
yep.
yeah.
Unless
Don't get me
you
wrong.
specifically
Balin's
needed
like
that tag.
locked to them unless you're doing something weird. But like if you're not playing Balin because he doesn't jive with you, you should be playing HKs somewhere. They're just good.
Yeah. All right.
Fast,
So we
like really fast because they can dash, move, hit something from range 5, and they're gonna probably get a reposition, at least one of them.
yeah. Okay, so we've hit Balin, we've hit Jin and Han. What's another primary that comes to mind of something that's not being talked about right now that probably is going to do quite fine at a competitive event currently?
The problem with that statement is like not being talked about by who. Yeah, like the
That's
meta as
fair.
a whole, right? Like not showing up.
There haven't been enough big events yet to say they're not showing up, right?
Yeah.
But like, you've been busy, but like there's conversation online and everything about like what's good and all of that. There's a few I think sleepers, and I think Hondo still needs to be talked about. Like Hondo, like can play a lot of eras, and I like him a lot with Balin, but like there's a lot of scoundrels that don't mind
think-
having extra dice right now.
My biggest issue with the likes of Hondo, Cad, Lando is they could probably perform at a GT level event quite fine, but you have to be like practice with them to like to an
100%.
extent that is like out there. Cad probably more. I'd say Lando probably the most, then Cad, then Hondo. As far as like you need to be dedicated to those primaries.
Hondo, I'm with you. Lando and Cat, I still think are too far behind the curve.
That's fair.
Lando, I think, got really interesting just because, like, Lando with Balin, you get some really interesting dice results with Lando now, where his cannon, like, he throws 8 dice. Give him more expertise, he hits. I also like if you're running just the Balin box straight up with Lando. Shin's a fantastic target for Lando to condition dump. She's immune to half the conditions in the game. Lando will, take a disarm and then dump it into Shin, no problem.
That's
I
fair.
think of primaries that I think we're not talking enough about, huh? I had to pull up primaries, like right, like because
I would say
we're
like
not
the big
thinking about- we're not
thing
thinking about
the big thing is like not necessarily ones that aren't being thought about or talked about, but things that might be just a miss. Like I don't think Vader 1's bad right now. I think Vader 1's perfectly fine and serviceable. Like, but I've been seeing a lot of negative talk about Vader 1.
I think Vader.
I think
1's
Vader-
great right now.
Vader 1's great right now, but I also think Vader 1 has the same issue he's always had. You want to say Rebels are boring? Vader's boring as shit. He just walks and hits something with a hammer. Like he's armor with a lot less excitement around him. He like there's nothing fun about playing Vader. But he's a force multiplier, just like Balin is, but way less interesting to play.
Yeah. Omnis brings up Riff. I don't hate that. I think Riff's actually still pretty solid. Nothing happened to the Riff, and nothing got better that was good
Yeah, I
to
mean,
him.
and in theory, B1s, B2s, like obviously, I guess you're bringing Aquas always, right? But like you at least have some
The buff
extra
to
stuff in there.
B2s, you need to be talking about Riff somewhere. Like, any Separatist primary is worth talking about now just because B2s exist. If you haven't fought Dooku lately and been slapped around by B2 revenge triggers, like,
I think
it
Dooku.
hurts.
So Dooku was one that I was thinking going down the list.
Yo, I fully expect Scott to be playing Dooku at Evergreen. Like,
I think this Dooku's in a really healthy spot right now, and is kind of being overlooked. I'm always curious. So, like, I guess here's one way of looking at it. What do I go look at when I'm looking at event results? Right, like the first things I'm looking at is certainly what won. Then I'm looking at where did Cassian and Boss wind up? Like how many showed up? Because I'm still just curious the impacts, right? I'm thinking about those things. And then it's what surprised me. And like I'm just trying to like them going on the list of like what would be a surprise or what would be of a but not a surprise, right? Like Riff, I agree, is always kind of there. Riff is a positioning thing. I think that's really the reason Riff isn't popping up more is he's positioning centric, and I think a lot of players who didn't jump on the Riff bandwagon right when he came out are probably jumping into other primaries. So I think unless you are a Riff enthusiast, you're probably not hanging around and keeping on that bandwagon. You probably feel left behind.
And honestly, I think Riff is really worth looking at. And Dooku, like a Dooku Riff list does not seem bad to me. And I know that like one of my locals, Gary, has been playing a lot of Separatists, and like I've had to really worry about Dooku in the past like 3 weeks more than I've had to in years at this point. And like between the Separatist revenge trigger on Dooku and Battle Droid, like B2's just punching up, and Riff being able to follow up B2 attacks on offense, like I feel like there's a lot of potential there that's worth exploring.
I wonder how much we're overlooking the other things are like Krennic and Iden type things. Like Thrawn, we've certainly established, right? We can look at Eric and go, okay, great. There's a track record that Thrawn is perfectly fine. It's just like things like that, right? Like because Empire has all these new toys, are we overlooking some of the key pieces that are just solid anyway?
I think the key piece in Empire that isn't being talked about that should be talked about more is Moff.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I think the reserve tax is probably one of its most prevalent points in the game now.
That's my surprise is more that that's one of those things like yeah, like there's a little bit of a light bulb there where I really thought like wow, interesting. Yeah.
Well, think about back when Moff first came out, how hard it was to play Republic.
Yeah. No,
It's something that could actually keep Republic in check right now. I think Republic has now had 2 cycles where they've gotten a lot of help, and they needed it. But like Moff's something that just kind of existing keeps it in check because they're still force hungry, and Moff forces you to really, pun intended, think about that.
And then if Mandos take off, I don't want to see Moff when I'm playing Mandos.
No, because you're very deck dependent at that point, and like any.
I mean, you're already deck dependent. Like as it is, you're already deck dependent, and you don't want to reserve if you don't have to, but you at least can. With Moff, you just can't. You just have to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember having a bunch of conversations leading up to Adepticon about, hey, is Moff a counter to Cassian with his mana pool? And like Cassian boss, like is Moff a counter there? In my opinion, was absolutely.
I think honestly, if I had to rate right now, probably one of the most not talked about primaries that I think should be talked about more is probably Moff. The more I think about this,
and I get why people talk about Vader, and I think Vader, particularly in a Republic, is worth looking at. But I think if you're looking at Vader in an Empire list and you don't have Moff in your list, Moff's identity is doing a fair chunk of what Vader's bringing to the table already, with a lot more interesting stuff around it. Like Moff's actually, he's argue like the same thing with Vader, or like he's not boring. He's got some
Yeah.
really interesting decisions and forces interesting decisions on your opponent.
I want to say something quick. Qui-Gon states, Moff impacts some Republic, but does little to Mundi or Mace. I think here's the most cool thing about Moff Gideon. He only cares about the synergy within his squad. You could take whatever you want on the other half.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really care. Like he's very a self-reliant primary. You don't need to go insane with the synergies. He's one of those primaries that you can just throw into with any list and you're gonna see work out of them, which is something that Matt said earlier. Like he really likes primaries that I'm gonna get something out of this primary regardless. He's okay at melee or attacking. He's okay at standing there. But at the end of the day, the effect that Moff has on the table is one of those that's just him being present is affecting the table.
Yeah. I put Moff as, in my opinion, like into what like I'm saying, right? Like Gideon's just boring. I totally agree. Having played him 3 Novas ago, whatever it was, when I played Scott in the finals, like Moff just did nothing all day. Moff, in my opinion, is one of the worst primaries on active turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. Qui-Gon, I was talking about the reserve text. My point is I would just, if I'm worried, if I'm like I want to take Moff into Mace and Mundi or something like that, then I'm gonna be pairing it with something that I know is good into Mace, like Maul. I'll play Moff Maul, and that sounds great into a Mundi or a Mace list.
And I don't disagree. Gideon has a boring activation, but so does Vader. It's just a different type of boring. My point is, like, he actually forces something interesting to happen in the game. You know, if even if that's just interesting questions for your opponent.
See,
Vader activates and it's just like, all right, something's dying.
I disagree, but that's interesting. Like Vader 1, even if your move activates. See, I disagree. Like Gideon, I went through all of Nova, and I you know, the entire game I played that list. I played Gideon list all but one round. Gideon never went 2 down his tree, went past 2 on his tree. Like he doesn't even attack well. I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like at least Vader gets to move a bunch and just dunk something.
Gideon says, "I'm here."
Yeah, Gideon's best turns are like hunker move, just plop his big, you know, big armored ass there and go tie break. Thanks, bye.
Listen, I play enough Ezra again to where like Moff Gideon, like okay, that's a play pattern, but I've got playmakers in the secondary and support slot to make up for it.
Fair. All right, let's move on from Moff. Let's do a couple more, and then we'll close out here. But what's Matt? Do you have one yet that you could think of that is like something that people should be looking at or talking about more?
I mean, Dooku, I absolutely think is underplayed.
I think Dooku's a fair shot. Yeah.
I really feel like past that, I think a lot of things are being talked about. I don't think there's too much else that's really like, there are definitely things I'd like to see be able to keep up, but yeah, I mean, Dooku, I certainly, and then the other one is Iden, right? I think Iden, I'm surprised, and I have no data behind that. Mine is just, I really liked what I saw people doing with Iden. I'm thinking like Pure and Seracruel going into Adepticon and stuff and events leading up. And Iden just feels perfectly fine, right? Like, she just feels like she goes and does well against things like Veer's Morgue. You've got, I think some of the primaries we're seeing her picking up are either a little glass cannony, or they're more of those backline primaries that you're hoping people don't get near. Like, think about like Padme, think about Veers. I guess Padme's not really backline, right? But like your squishier ones, Iden just gets to go delete.
Well,
I draw this card, I delete a unit. Thanks, bye. From anywhere on the board, right? It's Iden because I'm moving 3 times. I'm range 5ing you with a pile of dice.
If we look at in terms of this of like mid range, aggro, control, whatever, right? Those type of stuff. Like, would you think because of coming off an errata, a lot of people gravitate towards mid range, and that's going to push an envelope of aggro, which is going to come back full circle, and we'll be right back into a revenge meta.
The only reason
Your
I
biggest
disagree.
revenge threat is
Yeah.
like took the nerf
So
bat. Like,
so then is it
it's-
gonna be mid range? And then people are like, well, I'm just gonna go aggro because then you just can't keep up, and then it'll just stay aggro.
Maybe, but I think there's also an angle for control. We talked a lot about Moth, right? And I think Moth Thrawn, like a skilled player, can do some crazy stuff with that. But
Do I need to go dust off Thrawn? Is that what we're saying here? Can I go play Moth Thrawn again?
I've played against so much like I've just played against Thrawn a few hours ago. Like I think he's still great. Like I think Thrawn Moth is still something that can work really well.
I
But,
have
like-
too much fun with Mandos.
We know.
So
But there's other ways to play control. And like
Yeah.
we talk a lot about Kiadi Mundi, right? With whatchamacallit, with Vader. And Kiadi Mundi has a lot of options now. Kifis are just going to
that
overhaul Mace
control?
Wind. It
When you
is if
say
you play it with
Kiadi Vader,
Kamika's dab.
you
No,
just talked
like-
about two guys who walk out and throw and full tree on most attacks.
you
Control?
Let me finish my thought though. We talk a lot about Kiadi Mundi Vader, but I think the control thing, we don't talk a lot about Kiadi Mundi Plo Koon. And Plo Koon did make it to the top table at Worlds pre-errata. I think Plo Kiadi Mundi is still, like, if you wanted something different out of Republic, like, that's interesting. And that's just built around positioning and controlling your opponent.
So to go back to your thing, Diz, I will say yes, I do believe we are moving towards an aggro meta. Where this aggro meta differs from, I think this meta is going to get most closest to Iden Vader. But big butts here, right? So why I think it's going to be different.
Can you lie?
Thanks. Why I think it's gonna be different is, one, I think the aggro list will be aggro lists plural is a big reason it's gonna be different. I think you're gonna see 5 or 6 aggro lists all kind of competing for that top spot. I think those aggro lists are going to be more toned down, where even the hard counters, like unlike Iden Vader, where even the hard counters struggled. I think you're going to see those Iden lists turned down a little bit, the aggro lists tuned down, right? So they're going to be more susceptible to bad dice game, bad placement, things like that. And I think where the biggest thing is that's going to be different is Iden Vader 2 is pretty idiot proof. Like, you could hand it to a player who's played the game like 3-4 times, who's played other minis game, and they're just going to go, yeah, I got it. Thanks. I'm going to go steamroll my local event.
So would it be safe to say, to simplify, that we are going to be revisiting an Iden Vader aggro meta, but more complex?
So, yeah, and then the last point right to that is I think it's more complex in the sense that because there are more viable lists, it goes wider. I think because the aggro lists are less insane and overpowered, there's more of a chance for them to, like, I don't think they're going to be as, like, what was Iden Vader was winning like 2 out of every 3 major events, it felt like, especially in North America here. It certainly won't be that. You're going to see a lot of aggro. And the other thing I think is because there's so many viable aggro lists and so many viable, like, mid-range lists that could be in competition because they have those kind of key aspects, I think it's really going to come down to who can find an edge or a play style that's almost like a counter to what the other people are doing. And I think games are even more going to come down, like, it's going to be one mistake. I know we say it a lot, but, like, I truly think in aggro v aggro, in any list like that, it's one mistake, you lose the game.
Sure.
Hard to come back.
Yeah.
All right. I think what we should do is the counter to aggro going to be more blitz scoring than double revenge?
Yes.
I think, yeah, I agree with this. Yes.
Or being able to run up something tanky. This is why I like what Accuser's talking about on the Plo Koon side, right? Like, another way to stop aggro is run somebody like zombies or like B1, somebody who stands back up, or just somebody really beefy, run them up onto the midline and go, okay, great. Because aggro's whole thing, right? Aggro wins through tempo and cadence. Aggro has to, I draw a card. I either take a point and kill something, or take a point and super weak, like take 2 points, super weaken things, or do both. Kill something, take 2 points, right?
I mean, this might be why like I have feelings that Paz feels the best he has in a long time because you just put him on a middle point, come kill him.
Well, I think Mando is also something, but like I didn't put Mando on my list of things people have been talking about because I've been talking about Mando because I think
Yeah.
models a way to beat aggro is always with models your opponent doesn't want to have to target for one reason or another. And you take those things, you put them on the point that the opponent has to go for, and say, okay, you want to win the game? It's through Mando. It's through this model.
So what you're saying
Make 'em
is
do
it's the Zeb meta.
There you go. I mean, boy, I still hate him as a
Zeb-
single model unit.
He's a single model unit, but he is kind of a zombie. Like it's the same mechanic.
He is a zombie. Okay, here's what I'll do to finish this up. Let's go ahead and one list for each quote unquote faction. We'll start with separatists. And if we just say same, then same. So like we'll start with Matt for this one.
We're going with
One
what
list
do
that
we
you
think
want to
the
see.
best
No,
list?
just throw this down there. Whatever you think, whether best list or something you think people should explore more, or something you already think is talked about but you agree with is good.
I have something for all of them. I mean, I'll double down on Dooku. I think Dooku has a lot of really interesting play in this current meta.
Dooku what? I think Dooku Riff.
I think Dooku Riff is
You know,
really
my only
interesting.
problem with Dooku Riff, honestly, like I just, and I think it's because where I'm going to be concerned recommending that to a new player is I think Dooku is already a positioning piece that you have to have like as a not a high skill cap, but as a little bit of a skill cap because he just doesn't move a ton.
That's fair.
And I think Riff is a high skill piece model placement. I'm concerned recommending somebody to go look at Riff Dooku as like a go breaking into separatists or go breaking into those models. 'Cause I think that list is going to be really hard to play. If you want the easy way to start learning Riff, it's like Grievous Riff, right? It's something like that.
What about Dooku Lumi?
And I said Grievous Riff. I'm sorry, I meant Grievous Dooku.
Yeah.
Dooku Lumi, I don't think it does. I think you need something offensive. You need a
That's
Riff.
fair.
You need a Grievous. But
So
I like Dooku
just-
right
so
now.
I think
Dooku-
even
Dooku
Ventress can
Grievous.
be interesting there.
So Ventress was almost on my list of things where I think people are sleeping on because she can have some fun
Expertise is
turns.
Pretty good.
I just still think she's not quite there. She has some fun turns. She works well with you need the Dooku Force battery, that's for sure.
I mean, Dooku Ventress, and you can bring. Hear me out. The Aqua kit under Ventress, and she's suddenly hitting a lot harder.
True.
Or you can bring Kraken B2s and then put No Sarai with, or even like
Or you could go no Sarai Kraken no Sarai B2s under Dooku and then take the
Yep.
Aqua package with Kraken under Ventress.
You can't do Aquas because they're 5. So like if No Sarai's under Dooku, you're a 4/4.
Oh,
It might get a little weird there, but like
I think
I
the
still
safe
think
play.
there's a lot of potential for Ventress.
I like Ventress a lot. Let's call out Dooku Ventress for Seps.
All right. I'm on
I
board.
like
Alright.
it.
Republic. What do you want to see more of?
Cam Plo, personally. I think Cam Plo.
Okay, I need you.
is-
Okay, I want you to. Let's take a little bit of time here because I'm very curious as to why. Not saying it's wrong or people shouldn't, but I need you to tell me what's going on with Plo.
So, Plo Koon brings a lot of mobility to the list if you're building around Padawans. I think Ahsoka 2, or Ahsoka, is she Ahsoka 2, the Padawan one? Ahsoka
Yep.
2, I think, is a very interesting model there, between being able to essentially get a free jump if something's wounded with Cam, and being able to follow up attacks. And she's a Padawan, so she plays well into the Plo Koon package. Plo Koon bringing a force push in affiliation. And again, if you want a third force push, which I don't think is bad, Barris is sitting right there. Does Barris fall over easily? Absolutely. But Kiadi-Mundi almost wants that. And if we're talking about an aggro world where Iden is back in the picture, where she's really playing the range game, Plo Koon, Mundi, Ahsoka, and if you've got Padawans in there, if you're so inclined, that's 3 to 4 models with deflect. Like, chip damage matters.
That's fair. I think Plo's interesting.
I'm also just a
Um,
Plo Koon fan. Like, I think he's
That's
the best prequel Jedi, but I'm biased.
I I think if I were to play Republic, honestly, I'd probably lean. Honestly, Kamakin. Kamakin just seems like it's in a really good spot again.
I struggle with Anakin's dice, and I love Anakin. Anakin does not love me in return.
Sorry.
It's
Cam. How about Cam Vader? Let's go Cam Vader. Like,
Only
I
issue
just
I have
think-
with Cam Vader is just it's super and the reason it's
Boring.
scaring me away, it's super melee, and it's you're too susceptible, in my opinion, to a bad dice, to like bad placement games.
I just-
Or
I
your
think-
Plo Koon
opponent
helps
being
your
good.
troopers move around
I just-
more. Like, you can
I really
flex
like-
range a bit more.
I really like Kiadi again right now. Like, I think Kiadi might be one of the stronger
No
Republic
argument on
primaries.
Kiadi Mundi. It's the pairing that I waffle over because I don't enjoy playing Vader 1 and Anakin. Like, I just can't get the dice to connect.
I mean, Kiadi Plo, right? Like I feel like I was talking about. We were talking about this a lot leading up to Adepticon. It's just a solid. Every time I played it, I was like, "This is just good. This is just good."
Plo Koon made it to top table at Worlds.
All right,
Like,
all right. Let's say
I
Kiadi
never dropped a
Plo.
game to boss with it. Like back, going into Adepticon, I was right on the borderline of taking it. It was in. I brought it with me to Milwaukee. The models were all in my bag, so.
let's say people go play Kiadi Plo. All right. Let's jump over to Empire. And let's not say Morgan Beers.
I mean, so I actually really do like the Gideon shout. I think we really, that
That's
is
good.
absolutely something that is being, the value of that tax is being slept on right now because, and again, we were talking about it a little bit leading up to Adepticon because you had multiple 5 force lists doing really well. And hey, look, everyone knows that clones especially hate having to get tax on their reserves. So, no, I mean, I think Gideon was a great shout. That's where my head's at. Like, honestly, I'm sitting here now thinking about Gideon.
What is Gideon? Is it Moff
Morg.
Mando? Is it back to Moff Mando? Okay, fine.
No,
Moff
so
Morg.
my brain is still putting PLC and Mando together a lot, so I don't
That's
like
fair.
Moff Mando. Although Moff
you're-
Mando
you're-
might be a really interesting way to start looking at anti-aggro.
Yeah, I can see it.
I like the Moff
Yeah.
Morgan thing just because you bring a primary, and honestly, if you
Just
run
go-
the box
but-
straight up, you've got
But
two
now
sources of.
Matt has his
Oh,
premiere.
right.
He just figured it out. Moff Morgan Mando POC. He just figured it out. He's unlocked it.
He's just got to go play an
I
event. He
mean,
runs events.
It's not fun. Hey, I got to go play in one. Yeah, I won't be playing at Nova, obviously.
It was a joke, man.
No, I was all excited. I got to go to an event and was like, someone called Judge, and I'm like, oh, not me. Yeah.
I love the Moff shout though. I think he just asks interesting questions of your opponent, and I like that in a primary.
Yeah.
I really like the Moff Thrawn. I've only played it like once or twice, but it's a blast. It's got a lot of really cool decision making.
You definitely have to make sure you're pairing Gideon with a primary that's got a very big, impactful active turn for sure.
Yeah.
And Thrawn
Which
can definitely
Thrawn
do that, right?
can.
Thrawn just yeeting across
He
the board.
hits like a truck.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked Vader 2 with Gideon a little bit, but and yeah, no, trust me, like the Enoch running under Mando, right, is definitely interesting.
Oh, that is actually kind of scary.
That
And
was
then
what I was thinking when we were talking Mando Gideon. That was my first like.
That's actually kind of scary. I kind of like
Is
that
you
a
just
lot.
get
Mando.
the Morg. The question is Morg better because Morg gets to still like, boy, manipulating hand for free is really good, guys.
Well, now
If you
but
weren't
now-
aware about that.
You can run the Moff box, Morgan box just together. And I think that's a great entry point for someone wanting to play Empire. If you are new to the game and want to just play Empire, go buy the Moff box, buy the Morgan box, and go
Has-
nuts.
Have you played Mando running the knights with
I have not yet.
Morgan? Like,
I've
could you
just been-
imagine? Could you imagine you kill the night troopers, they stand back up, and now Mando gets to move on to a point? Like, good God! Like,
we were after the Top Deck GT. A couple of the people locally were like, we were talking about like what were things that we thought we could have had fun doing, and that was one of them. Was basically Gideon box, Morg box together.
yeah, I like it. All right, we'll say those three things: Mando, Moff, Morgan. I think I like the three of those actually. That'd be a
That's
sick
great.
three mirror. Like if I was going to a three mirror, that'd be a fun three mirror.
I don't
Is your
know.
Morgan painted yet?
No.
All
My
right.
buddy says he's gonna get done. He's gonna get everything done for me in time for Nova. So
Fair.
And I still
Let's
think
go
like,
over
the
to-
Morgan ISB thing is just terrifying.
Let's go ahead and jump over to Rebels. I'm gonna say I'll start this one. I honestly think Jin Han might be the most interesting Rebels right now.
Jin Han is without a doubt the most interesting one to play. I still think that Ewoks have just keep subtly having a lot going on.
I honestly, when I think of Rebels, Ewoks are their own thing, in my opinion. But
Okay.
that's just me. That's just
I mean,
me.
yeah, Han Jin. I mean, because I still love PLC, but Han Jin I think has the ability to just do a lot of stuff, and sometimes just granted, nothing you're doing are like you're not throwing haymakers, you're throwing a bunch of jabs, but at some point, a bunch of jabs still gonna break some noses. Like you're still gonna win fights that way. So. Yeah, I think Han Jin. It was an area that I kind of wanted to be early, and then Cassian came out, right? Like before we had Cassian box, and we had like I'm like, ooh, this Han Jin stuff is fun, and then Cassian comes along and
Ruins it all.
ruins all my fun.
Then I'm gonna pitch slightly differently. I think Kanan Jin is amazing. You've got a bunch of different ways to heal and everything between the revenge identity and everything, but like if you haven't paid momentum to force push, I mean,
Ooh,
you dive Kanan into places and you just force your opponent to deal with Kanan, and then if you wound him, great. I'm still paying a momentum for a force push instead.
But
I
you know
will
what,
continue to
though?
make your life miserable.
You know what though? It might be time for Kanan and Hera to make a reappearance, because if it's mid-range stuff not dying, or Hera getting like Ezra to stand back up super early is kind of
I don't
insane.
hate that. Hera, it was Cassian just pushed her out, but like I think Hera's still really good, and you don't need to run her with Kanan. I think she's a perfectly good just rebel support piece.
Scott ran Han Hera at Adepticon.
I think Hera just wants to make sure she has Ezra. That's like the only thing that really matters.
Yeah. She has.
I think Sabine's
Ezra
still
Rebel
great
Commandos.
there too. Like Rebel
Well,
Commandos.
I mean, it's just
and I
there
don't
is
hate
there is
Pathfinders there.
I like
there is a
Palace a little
complete-
bit better, but
there is a complete difference though between Hera standing up Ezra and standing up anything else.
yeah.
Oh
Agreed.
yeah,
So,
it's almost
all
like
right,
he breaks ties.
all right. So then I think Ewoks are worth mentioning. I think Ewoks are in a super interesting spot, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them win some stuff like wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I think like Chirpa Logray is perfectly serviceable if you want to play it. PLC or not Charming Leia, but the other one, Freedom Fighter Leia, still perfectly solid with either Ewok.
Yeah, and then I guess the catch-all category. I think I really love Balin armor. It's so much fun, and I think people should explore it.
I think
It's
there's
so-
a lot of
I'm on board for
potential
trying
for
it.
Balin Hondo. Like the more dice, Hondo doesn't mind having the expertise. And honestly, I think the big thing that Balin box is missing, like outside of Shin, is out of activation movements. I think like Balin likes Hondo or having Shakti on the other side of the table. I think Balin Maul is a phenomenal. Just
I love Balin Maul
If
a
you-
lot too.
it's so good.
That's where my head keeps gravitating for Balin's Maul.
So
it's so
Balin,
good.
Balin Maul Shakti learner slap so good, and it feels
It's
so good.
amazing.
You've got so much displacement. You've got so much force efficiency. It's really fun. I
I like his Balin wants force and Maul doesn't want force, so there you go.
Precisely.
and
And it's a 7-force list, and
yeah. Balin can
You've
use
got-
4 and feel good about it.
between Maul, Balin, and Shakti, you just have an absurd amount of diceless displacement. Like, and there's turns where Shakti, like, you activate with her, and she like goes and just holds a point or just is relatively force neutral. And there's other turns you put her in the middle of the board, and she shuffles the entire board state. Like, her double force thing is so good.
I think the other one worth mentioning is Ahsoka Balin. If you want to take a revenge list with Balin, it's probably Ahsoka 1. It's really good. It's really good.
I could see it. I still don't know if I love it, but I mean, granted, we talked about before, like Ahsoka 1 was still one of the models after the first errata that still shocked me. She got such a buff and then saw less play. So, hey, if that's the opening, we need to see her back in the meta. More power. I'm on board.
I don't hate the idea of, like, we're talking about Shakti Padawans. There's a couple shells you can put there with Balin. I don't hate Lumi as an option, but, like, I don't think Kit Fisto is necessarily bad either.
No, I think he's fine.
Kit Fisto does something interesting there.
All right, one more question that was in the chat that we should hit, and it's more relevant because I'm over here now. For Evergreen, what do you think will hit the top table? If you had to pick right now. 5 weeks away.
One primary or a whole list?
The question Omnis had asked. 4 primaries.
If I had to see 4 primaries or like 2 lists, it's a big difference.
I think he said 4 primaries.
All right.
So, all right, 4 primaries. I think Morgan's there. I think Kiadi-Mundi's there.
I think Dooku's going to be there. Scott's going to everything. Dooku's
yeah,
yes, that's my point.
So Kiadi and Morg definitely, I think, are the 2 shining stars right now for sure. I don't think Veers will get there because I think as much as I think the Morg Veers list is good, I think there's going to be good players who are going to know how to play around it and they're going to be able to counter it. But I do agree Morg will be there in some iteration. I agree Kiadi, because Kiadi is just too good of a kit right now.
That's fair. I'm gonna put money on myself and say Armor X. I don't know what X is yet though. As far as that's matchup dependent.
I'm really like Gideon's not bad. Just thinking about that Gideon. I mean, I also Vader 1 is still.
I think Gideon's kind of primed right now. I think Gideon's sitting. Gideon's probably eating real good right now in games he's playing.
I'd love to see Jin make it, but I don't. Knowing what I know about the Pacific Northwest scene, I don't think it's a huge rebel meta. So I don't think Jin makes that.
Honestly, if Donovan plays Moff, I can see Moff making top table.
100%.
Yeah.
Moff Hondo, you heard it here first.
Have to pick 4. I'm gonna. I definitely like the Kiadi Morg shouts. I'm gonna put Vader 1 on that list because I think he fits into a lot of spots right now in the meta. And I'm gonna put Mando.
Both the primaries we named already. Vader plays
Mando
fairly well with Morgan and Cam.
I'm gonna call. So Matt says Morgan, Kiadi,
Vader,
Mando. Okay. Phil. 4 primaries, top table.
That assumes that they're playing together, right? I think it'll be.
Yeah, it's what you think is gonna be playing the finals.
Fine. I'll vouch for you a little bit. I think Armor Balin versus Morgan Vader 1.
I think Balin Maul versus Camp Vader.
I like it. And
I
that's
don't
a
think
game I
Morgan's
would
gonna
love
be.
to
I
watch.
don't think Morgan's gonna be on the top table. I think he'll be like in the list to the top table, but I don't think he'll be played on the top table. Hot take.
I don't think it's unreasonable.
I feel like the issue with playing Morgan on the top table is whoever you're playing against is probably pretty practiced into Morgan, and it might be more of a liability than a benefit.
I'll disagree.
Because I don't think, because like in metas of the past, it was like, well, I can just play this list because it's just that good. I don't think Morgan meets that criteria. Morgan's a very good list. I just don't think Morgan meets the criteria of this is just good and inherently better. I think you actually have to pay attention to your matchups now,
Yeah, for sure.
which is a great place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think we've talked long enough and had a really good discussion today. Let's go ahead and Accuser take us home.
Oh man, no pressure. The most Star Wars thing you can do is embrace your fate as a mercenary and pay the best people to do the job, and it's probably Armor or Balin. They're mercenary tagged. That's the next big tag.
All right.
I love it.
Matt, turn it off.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for